God did not give the church a mission, he gave the mission a church. There's not even a command to plant churches in the New Testament. There's a command to make disciples, and guess what came out of that? Churches.
How do you cast a vision that isn't simply about one big church getting bigger? I kept saying I want an Acts 1:8 vision. Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, the ends of the earth.
We're about to turn 150 years old, 150 churches. We have a team that is made up of individuals that are answering the question, well, how are we going to do that? And that, I think, was the big challenge. And we didn't have the answers. And that's something that the Lord was going to illuminate over time for us.
We took a trip to London as we were exploring our calling, and God just used that to really break down everything I thought I knew about church. And we put our yes on the table. We packed 6 bags and got on a plane. We didn't start with anything, really no funds. All we had was the word and the gospel to go out and proclaim. We didn't know what we were going to do, but we knew that there was this one area of London called Enfield Lock that had very little access to the gospel.
And it was just Zeth and I at first, a couple times a week, just knocking on doors, trying to share the gospel with people. We saw a few people start coming to faith. Yeah. And throughout that time, we were also training and casting vision to the small group of believers that were gathering there. And to this day, they're out sharing the gospel every single week without American missionary presence.
Yeah. Our job is not to go and pastor a British church forever. We want to see local leaders from London raised up that are going to continue that work.
When you plant a church in a community, it changes the entire community. The orphans are taken care of, the widows are taken care of, schools are planted.
This community of about 20,000 people that had no access to the gospel, now every person in that community is being systematically engaged with meaningful access to the gospel by local leaders.
Whatever I do is going to be forgotten pretty quickly. So what are you going to do that's going to outlast you? What are you going to do that's going to outlive you? And when you stand before Jesus, is going to count for the kingdom.
We were targeting places that did not have a lot of churches. There's a young man in South Asia who can't read. He has no formal education. This guy went out and he went to a village and he goes to one of the people and he says, who in this village can read? They point out a guy and they're like, over there. So he walks over to that guy and he hands the Bible to him and he says, hey, read this right here. And he led that guy to the Lord. And that started working through the village, and multiple people came to faith in Jesus, and a church was planted by a guy who can't read, who has no formal education. And the crazy thing is he did this 60 more times. God uses the unlikely one to do his work.
The addition of 170 or so churches, the number of people being discipled, the number of gospel shares that are taking place worldwide, the number of people being baptized, these are churches that we can tell you who their pastors are. We can also share those individuals that have been sent out to further gospel work around the world.
All of the fruit is not our job. That's God's job. Jesus sent out his disciples, but before he sent them out, he said the harvest is already ready, implying that he is already working. You're just going to find the harvest.